afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to AVX Live. I'm Joe Gilderson, President of Corporate Audiovisual Services. I got to say, I really missed everybody last week. It was our first week off in over 5 months. So we're happy to be back this week. I don't think we have our co-host today, but I'm sure he's going to be back next week. So next week, we'll bring Ryan back on. But I got to tell you, it's been a pretty good July overall for our experience with work. Usually July and August are a little bit slow for us. In production, we're based just outside of New York City. Normally, everybody's in vacation mode. But I'm happy to say that we've had a lot of things moving forward, and we've really had some great projects to work on. It almost makes up for all the rain that we've had in the last week. Not completely, but it almost does. Either way, this is a hot time for everybody in the planning side. Everybody's looking ahead towards fall and then for spring. So I thought this is probably a really good point to bring a real professional on who can help with event planning and maybe discuss some different tips and recommendations for our upcoming seasons. But just before we get there, I just want to remind everybody how you can be a part of the whole AVX Live experience. So make sure to subscribe on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. We're on every Wednesday at 1. And of course, you got to be able to leave a comment because we want you, we want you part of the show. That's much more fun. It looks like we might actually have a comment right here. Already this guy's got a comment. I have a feeling we're probably going to see his name a few times. But thank you, Mike. We're glad to see that you're looking forward to it. You must have missed us last week. Or maybe not, I'm not sure. But either way, let me tell you a little bit about our guest, because I think everybody's going to be really excited. A lot of you people are going to know our current guest. So let me just click a few buttons here. There's like magic going on behind the scenes here. But let me tell you about our guest, Chereese Jervis-Hill. Cherise has over 2 decades of event management and promotion experience. An accomplished event producer and publicist with drive, vision, and fresh ideas. She founded Events to Remember, a minority and women-owned business enterprise in 2004 as a full-service virtual and live event management and public relations firm based pretty close by to us, honestly, in Mount Kisco, New York. Events to Remember specialize in conceptualizing, organizing, managing, marketing, and publicizing live, hybrid, and virtual events. That's really a lot to say, I got to tell you. I didn't stretch out the vocal cords well enough for this. But their focus is on corporate, agencies, not-for-profits, municipalities, and of course, entrepreneurs. Cherise has received numerous awards and accolades, including being named one of the top women in business by 914 Inc. magazine, Powerful Women in Westchester County by the Westchester County Business Journal, and is in the Westchester County's 40 under 40 in Leadership Westchester Alumni. There's a lot. She's got a lot of accolades. It's a full wall over there at Events to Remember. And in 2021, she has received the YWCA Entrepreneur Empowerment Award and the Business Council of Westchester's Chairman's Award, which is really a tremendous honor. Cherise was raised in the South Bronx, New York, attended Fordham University, and she now resides in Westchester County with her husband, Arnold, and their 2 daughters. This is a good story, right? I'm glad you came. Please welcome Chereese Jervis-Hill.
Hey, Joe. How are you?
I'm kind of tired, honestly. That was a mouthful. You have a lot of awards.
I'm sorry. I do. I'm very proud of my awards. I worked my butt off.
I can see some of them on the back wall there, but I don't think that wall's big enough.
I am very thankful. I am very, very thankful.
Well, I think it's that gratitude that, inspires more. So that's a good thing.
Yes, I agree. So thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here with you. And tell Ryan I am so upset that he's not here today. He definitely deserves vacation time. I'm very big on that downtime, but I was looking forward to seeing him. So tell him that I am sad that he's not with us today.
I will, of course, tell him that. I might even make a banner that says that for him. Look, I'm going to add it right now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Cherise says hi to Ryan. Look, we're going to just put it in right now, and let's see this thing so that he knows he's in the show.
Okay,
you know?
awesome.
We don't want him to feel left out.
No, you don't. And you always have to pull out bags in your trick bag. Joe always has. That's one of the things that I love about you. It's like, Joe, it would be great to have. And it's like, yeah, look, done. 2 seconds.
Well, sometimes it's a little bit on the fly, but either way, we're trying to make people happy,
Yes, for sure. For sure.
I mean, we're in the experience business, right, Cherise?
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Definitely.
100%. And I think sometimes that gets forgotten.
It does, especially in the virtual world, I have to say, just to kind of jump right in. I think that in the virtual world, sometimes people don't tend to really think about all of the details, and that's something that I really do try to talk to clients about, to really think about the virtual experience, the same way we think about the in-person experience. And thank God we're in person. BCW had their event last night, which was so great to be in person and see everyone. So happy to be in person. But I think virtual, now that we're doing some hybrid stuff, it's really going to be about the experience. Don't you agree, Joe?
100%. 100%. That's why we call this show AVX. It's for audiovisual experiences, because traditionally our business, everybody gets caught up in all the fancy buttons and all the equipment and the shiny lights, and we're easily distracted. So they get caught up in that, and sometimes you forget there's a reason you're there.
Yeah.
And that's to help the client have a good experience.
Yeah.
But it's all part of it. And I think it's a good lead in, because in the end, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Well, listen, just to jump in, why don't you tell us about the last 14 or 15 months? How did you guys evolve and adapt from your traditional event planning business?
So I think, it's been a challenging year for sure, but I have to say, like, a challenging but learning, inspiring, growing, all of those great things really, I would say, happened this year. When everything happened, we realized that we still needed to service our clients. Our clients still had events that needed to take place. So it was just a matter of doing things differently, and kind of helping our clients through that process of still meeting those goals and doing what needs to get done, but in a different way. So I think, my team and I, the fact that we have that in addition, well, let me back up a little bit. So Events to Remember is a full service event management and a public relations firm. So we've done, for the past 5 years or so, we've assisted clients with helping to market events, via social media or different campaigns to kind of help get the word out. And I think all of that experience really came into play when COVID happened, because we were comfortable in the virtual space. We were comfortable kind of doing the outreach that it took to kind of get people to come out to like a community festival and things like that. Like, those are things that we've always done. So it was just kind of revving it up a little bit to help, as I like to say, from getting butts into seats to getting eyes on the screen, So I think for us, it was just, we kind of had that skill set. So that was helpful to just, assist clients with helping. I think that was a big piece. The virtual events in the beginning, I'm not going to lie, like, I wasn't a fan. I think, we all were kind of just like, oh, this is going to be our new reality. But I have to say, I enjoy them now. I never thought that I would say that, but I do. I think that it's a great opportunity for clients to really be able to showcase the good work that they're doing. I think when you really take advantage of that 45 minutes, that, hour that you have to really engage your donor base, if it's a fundraising event or, whatever type of event it is, if you really kind of take advantage of that opportunity to educate them about, what you're doing, what your goals are, really just put your best foot forward. I think it's a great thing. it exposes you. So now if it's a fundraising event or any kind of event, it's like your family members that kind of know about, the organization that you work for, kind of know what you do, can kind of tune in and say, oh, now I know what you do. Now I know what that organization that you talk about all the time, now I know about the work that you do. So I think I think that part is great. Having clients at the end see a report and see that, people were tuning in from, different states or all over. I think that is definitely a win. The post-event videos are great because then it can live on your website and people who weren't there get to be a part of it. And sometimes they still send in donations. So all of that stuff, I think, is a win-win for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of those things you never would have had.
Yeah.
From the in-person experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, out of the, hundreds of events that we would do every year, I mean, it was always a small percentage that were recorded, and most of the recordings were for archival purposes only. Mm-hmm. It wasn't really with the thought of how are we going to use this content until we got into some of our agency clients. Then that's their job. So, I mean, they're always thinking about that. But the regular everyday corporation, nonprofit, they were never thinking about that before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's opens up a lot of doors. It definitely a ton of different opportunities, I think, for all of us. And I do think that now that New York is opened up and I pretty much, our country has opened up, I think that I think some of these things are definitely going to be here to stay. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I do think that these are some good things that some silver linings that we're taking away from a really rough, year and a half or so.
Yeah, it was certainly a challenge, right? Especially the beginning. I think everybody just felt so isolated.
Yeah.
That emotion just kind of triggered a lot of the actual work stuff. But
the emotion, the uncertainty, I think it was more so just the uncertainty. I think clients come to us as the experts in our field, right? We always have answers, or we'll know where to go to get answers for them if we don't know. And I just found it to be a very hard time because we really just, are we going to be able to have this event? Right. When is New York opening back up? Is COVID going to be, are we going to be okay? It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, nobody had those answers.
Yeah, I know. So it was just, that's what was, one of the difficulties. So, yeah. But we're done. We're not talking about COVID-19 anymore, baby. We are moving on.
Let's keep moving forward here.
Yes, for sure.
So that's part of why I thought this would be a great time for our discussion. Because people are moving forward, and I mean, the way we're seeing fall right now, honestly, is if people aren't planning or starting their plans now, they're behind.
Yeah.
So now's the time. But, I think there's probably some new challenges coming up. So I guess as you're looking towards people getting back to, putting those butts in the seats, like you said, the in-person events and the hybrid events, what are you seeing from your clients right now? What are they feeling, or what are you seeing out of the industry?
Definitely the hybrid approach. I mean, that's pretty much what we're working on for the fall, and even some of the events that we're working on in 2022, just to be super cautious, and if we would love to have everything fully 100% in person, but, some of our clients are still a little cautious. So some events we're still kind of working on a hybrid format. So I think however you are mapping out your event plans, I think it's really important to still keep an eye out on your goals and your objectives. It's whether you're in person, whether you're doing a hybrid event, whether you're still doing virtual. I know some people are still doing virtual events. Really just take a look at your goals, your objectives, and really keep that at the top of your planning, to make sure that you're hitting those numbers and you're really focusing on those goals. And a couple of things.
Cherise, that's a really interesting point. And I'm going to go totally off subject for a second. So you're talking about goals and planning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my 11-year-old daughter, Marissa, has decided that she wants to buy an Apple Watch. And so now she's going to become an entrepreneur.
Oh.
And so what she has done is started making little bracelets. This is, of course, in corporate AV colors. I'm not saying anything, but it's a little bit of a promotional tool. And so that was part of our discussion. I said, well, how much does a watch cost? All right, so how much do you have? So that's your goal. How much do you need to sell that? Yeah, so it felt like we're in the office. We're talking about these things. How much are you going to charge for these bracelets? So feel free to enter your orders in the comments. Bracelets by Marissa. I'm sorry, I'm off target now. We'll go back to Cherise. Thank you.
She's so cute too, your daughter. Tell her good luck. And she's branding and using your colors. I hope that you're going to give her some kind of kickback, because I think she deserves it.
We're not talking about that right now, Cherise.
She's marketing your company.
We're in the negotiation stages. We're not talking about that right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have her call my office and make sure that you're not. We want to make sure that you're taking care of that sweet little girl of yours. That sweet young lady. She's not a little girl. She's a young lady. So.
Sorry, I went off topic, but you mentioned goals, and I think that gets lost. Like, you have to start with, what are you trying to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And even if, and sometimes that's hard to think about when it's like, well, if we're going hybrid, we don't really know. Your goals of how much you want to raise and how you're going to get there, that part is not really changing. You know what I mean? It's just kind of the logistics, that piece is changing. Right. The programming is going to be different. I think it's important for people to realize that there is no one solution. And Joe, I guess, you kind of let me know your thoughts on this, but this is my perspective. I don't think that there is one solution. Having done so many virtual events over the past, year and a half, I don't think that there is one perfect solution for any event. I really do not. So I really think it's important to kind of just jot down like what the goals are, what your needs are, and then really kind of, working together to kind of figure out what that solution would be with regards to technology, because there's so many options, and some clients rely on really registration and some clients, back. And so it's just, I think clients need to know that going in, that there's no one magic bullet that will just take care of everything. Or I have not found it. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me, Joe. I mean, you're on the technology side.
It's funny because that was kind of the constant. And we identified that right from the beginning, that there really wasn't a perfect, everybody wanted something that was a blend of like 5 different things.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I was on this international conference and we were talking about this kind of thing, and they had built the platform. I'm like, well, look, there is no perfect platform. They didn't like that part when I said that, but there isn't.
Yeah.
Because it just depends on what you're trying to do. So one event, typically we're using one thing, another event we're using something else. We did, we chose paths on what were going to become our main tools.
Yeah.
Because you have to become an expert in something.
Definitely.
Eventually you have to be an expert in something. And that's part of how we, we're working on this. And I had told you part of that, before the show. But there's nothing that's perfect. We're on a new platform today. Today we have a hybrid event we're streaming, and that's on a platform I never heard of before this week. And you know what? It's working fine. And there were different things we had to do.
But that's so that's my point. And I think the technology is moving so fast that like every day there's something new, there's something different. So I think that clients just need to be open to that there is no one magic bullet that's going to kind of take care of everything. Kind of, go into it with an open mind that, with an experienced planner and the production team, we may have to, pull a couple of different pieces together to kind of make that happen. So that's one piece. I think it's so important, and I need to say this because I just feel like not everyone does this, is to think about the user experience,
Right.
The same way you think about the user experience or your attendee experience, if it's a live in-person event of, oh, we have a lot of talking, let's see how we can cut that, let's tie in videos. You have to think about that if you're doing a hybrid event as well, or if it's, a full-on virtual event. Really think about your programming. No one wants to sit and listen to talking for a really, really, really long time. So you kind of have to break it up. You have to kind of really think about the user experience. And I think working with an experience planner to kind of help you kind of navigate that space and build a run a show that really will reflect all of those different moving pieces is really important.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. A lot of people thought that they weren't going to need planners during this, but there's a really key value that's being provided.
Yeah.
And I think that got forgotten about at certain points during the last 14 or 15 months, but still vital.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there was a moment where, people kind of, it was where it was like, oh, well, we're going to do it. And then you realize that it's so much work, with the virtual events and collecting the videos and, all of that fun stuff. It's a lot of moving pieces. And then they tend to think that production, like, Joe and Ryan are going to be, chasing down honorees for videos, and that's just not going to happen, Yeah,
we did hear it, unfortunately, production's a really expensive way to try to do that.
Yeah.
There's better ways to do that.
Yes, for sure. So that is one of many reasons why using an experience planner, such as events to remember. My team is awesome, if I must say so myself. We work really hard, but it's important. So
100%. Well, it's funny because that's one of the comments that came in, of course, is whether live or virtual engagement is the key.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, in some ways, I think people have more capacity to be engaged in virtual, but it really depends on how you formatted the event.
Yeah.
It really does. I would say we have an event going on today where it's in person and we're streaming, and that's going to a different platform. They have chosen specific sessions of the day that are streaming. It's not all day because not everything applies.
Yeah.
How are you going to do the coffee networking and send that online? Like, you're not going to do that,
Yeah.
So thinking of a little bit of thought.
And you know what, too, now that New York has opened up, I think you really have to think even more so when it comes to the hybrid events, because, people are moving around. So you kind of have to build that into your programming. You know what I mean? So I think the way, it sounds like your event is structured is really smart. You really do have to kind of think about those pieces.
Yeah, I think they did a nice job with it.
And then tying in like polls and different things that are fun to kind of really build that engagement on the virtual side. I think that is really important, to kind of, because you kind of have to bring everyone together. You want to kind of make your audience that are at home, that are watching from their computers, kind of feel like they're a part of everything that's happening, So I think that is really important.
100%.
Yeah. So, and we're actually, I don't know if I want to share that secret yet. I'm going to hold off on that one.
That'll be for the next episode. We'll do a part 2. Part 2, you can reveal the secret.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hold off on that one.
Is there a book? I mean, do we have celebrities involved? I mean, what are we doing? All right. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. All right. Well, look, as we're starting to think a bit ahead for these audiences and in person, do you think there's going to be any different challenges in this fall, where we're coming out of the virtual world and coming out of COVID? Any anticipated challenges?
I think, right now, I think the biggest challenge, Joe, I have to be honest, is just worrying about this Delta and if things are going to kind of, if COVID is going to sneak its little head back into the world. That's, I think, once again, the uncertainty. I think that is a little, it's something to think about. It definitely is something to think about, unfortunately. So with the planning, I think it makes sense to build in right now for the fall a virtual component, a hybrid component into your events where possible. That way you're covered. In case
you're saying start with the plan of having both.
Yes.
And then if things are fine, then maybe
things
you pull one away.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. So that's kind of the direction that that we're recommending for our clients, just so there's not so much transition if it, God forbid, if that does happen, so that's kind of what, so that's, as far as the virtual, we've been doing this for a really long time right now, all of us. So not concerned on that end. I think we really have to think a little bit more about the user experience, because going back to, we've been doing this for a long time. People have seen a ton of virtual events. So we want them to keep tuning in. So we need to do something a little bit different, just to make sure that they're engaged and they're having a good time. That part is, that's important. But I would just say that extra planning, just to be cautious.
Well, and that makes sense for a lot of reasons, because typically the hybrid would also be a bigger budget. So why not plan for the bigger? And then if you had to scale back, you now have some profit come, like now it's profit in some regards.
Exactly. Instead of having at the last minute or booking, God forbid, if you go the other route and then you need to then convert it, and,
it's harder.
Your calendar is, you're maxed out, then it becomes a big problem.
That's a harder direction to go.
It is a harder direction. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I know, because we're already seeing certain dates, and what I'm seeing from the supply side is that everybody is at somewhat of a limited capacity.
Yes.
They just don't have the staffing.
Yeah.
They don't have, it's funny. A question just came in, or a comment from Mike Dardano. We seem to be in a time of inflation. Have you seen prices of food and other items for events rise, and how does that affect your planning? It's a good question.
Hi, Mike. Yes. Yes, I have actually. We just did we literally just sent over, we did a venue research project for one of our clients. And we did find that the pricing is higher. And I understand it. I mean, the venues have been, out of commission for a year. They're short staffed. It's trying to make up some of that lost revenue. It's a lot, shipping and everything else, everything has increased. So that cost has to be passed down. So definitely. Yeah. And even
I have a shipping story if you'd like.
Oh boy, I love shipping stories.
Yeah, we just ordered some new digital mixers a couple of weeks ago. Fortunately, we're able to do that. We weren't able to do that for 15 months, but we'd like to keep current with our environments. Yeah. And we ordered them. Supplier took our order, took our PO, and then that was it. And it was 2 weeks ago, so we reached out yesterday. Said, "Hey, what's our arrival time? Because we'd like to start our training process very soon and get going." Yeah, 45 to 50 days, and it just left China. I said, "Well, were you going to tell us that? I mean, that's a big deal. 2 months, and we weren't going to know." I
know.
We didn't already pay them.
There's a lot of that, and there's been a lot of that, since COVID. You know what I mean? So it's Yeah,
you're not going to find things quickly. I'll tell you that right now. Yep. There's nothing that is quick.
Yep.
You have to plan ahead.
Yeah, even like staffing and even for events. I mean, we're limiting because I really we provide a boutique experience, and I really do like to, I mean, I have a team, and everybody, kind of has the pieces that they manage, but we're really limiting the number of, new clients that we're taking on, for the fall, and just different, because I really want to make sure that we can provide the experience that they're used to. And it's going to be interesting. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. We're certainly seeing a lot of the same thing, in that capacity. And, we spoke to a client, it's been a long time client yesterday. They had chosen a date that we've already flagged as a potential problem.
Yeah.
Because other people have already come in. We said yes to, most of those. Not all of them have turned out yet, but
yeah,
I said, I don't know. If you can choose the following day, that's much easier. Now, we would never do that previously.
Yeah.
We would figure out a way to make it work. But at this point, the reality is it's very hard to even, within our industry, of course, there's like sub vendors and people partner in things. And that's very common. They can't do it.
Yeah.
Just not everybody can do it.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, a lot of those suppliers just aren't around.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of limited capacities. I think you're right about that. And Mike, that's a good question, because I think people do have to think about budgets and probably factor in a certain percentage more.
Definitely.
It's not easy to get things right now.
No.
And everything seems to be higher.
Yep. Yep.
Everything. We have an event coming up, and I have a feeling it's going to involve a large number of flags. And I'm trying to think, where am I going to get all of those flags? So either way, let's not get too far off track. But a good question, Mike.
Yeah.
What about for the spring? I mean, do you think that that's going to continue through to the spring?
I would plan for it. I always rather plan high and then, come in where it's lower, and then there's more money on the back end. Is always a much happier client. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but right now for the spring, we actually have, we're booking up dates already in 2022, spring dates already. I think, people are ready to just have their dates confirmed and on the books, so I think that's too.
So is that something that people should be really looking at right now and say, you know what, let's make sure we get these dates now?
I would, especially too in Westchester. I mean, actually not even just in Westchester, because, as you mentioned about some of the suppliers that you would be able to call on, you think about just the venues. We don't have all of the venues that we used to have, unfortunately, because of COVID. I'm sure new venues are going to be popping up, but we've lost a few venues, and that's really all over. So
yeah, no, it is true that it's all over. I mean, we've also, of course, we have our office down in New York City, Visual Word.
Yeah,
and it's still a ghost town.
Yeah.
It's a total ghost town in Manhattan. And so we're not looking at that until 2022.
Yep.
And I've had a lot of conversations with people regarding the hotels. There's still a lot of hotels that are either not open or very limited, because they have a different set of staffing and labor requirements.
Yep.
And you can't just bring somebody to work the one event for 3 hours.
Exactly.
That's not how it works there.
And most of their business too is the transient, the corporate,
the travel,
it's the travel. So if they don't have that, they can't, as you mentioned, you can't staff up for, the weekends, and then during the week, just lay everybody back on, you know what I mean? It's just, so some places are just not even doing events right now, so
I have heard that.
Yeah. So that's another factor that's in play. So for sure.
Well, and I would think if people are booking their spring events now, that helps them in planning and budgeting, so they can actually have a full staff going.
Yeah.
Because once they take the work, of course, they have to fulfill their contract anyway. So, I mean, I think it's a great idea, people planning ahead now. And because, if everything keeps going the right direction, I mean, Vegas is open right now. We have some partners and friends out there. They're like full steam.
But did Vegas ever really close? I mean,
they did. They did actually close.
For how long though, Joe?
I mean, they're not Florida, but I mean, they did actually close. Florida didn't close, but I just saw a COVID tax or a COVID fee on a Florida restaurant bill.
Really? Is that legal?
I don't know, but I said, but wait a minute, they didn't close. How can they have a fee? But no, I know that Vegas did have some. They did have a lot of. I mean, that whole city revolves around events and
for sure,
tourism,
definitely.
So.
Yeah.
But they're running full steam. By some of the pictures I see, one of my friends post, and he's in production and runs one of the big spots out in the wind out there.
Nice.
It looks like a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
So how do you think people are feeling about being close to each other and getting together again and crowds?
I think you just have to really respect how other people feel. Just know going in that some people are ready, vaccinated, ready to hug, and and some people are vaccinated but ready to, elbow and kind of see you over there. And some people just really want their social distance space. So I think you really just have to be ready to respect how everyone feels. I think with regards to events, I think, when you can set your tables up where you have a little bit more space, if you can do tables of 8 instead of tables of 10, if you have the ability to, I think time will tell. It's a very individual thing. And I think that we all just have to be understanding and just accept everyone's feelings for just, for the way that they feel. They have these really cool bracelets that are like green means, hey, I'm good. Yellow means cautious, and red means I'm not there yet. I think those are like a great idea, just so people, if there's like a wedding, or we don't plan any weddings, but if someone's working on like a wedding or a bar mitzvah or something like that, it's kind of nice to, just kind of give people a heads up.
I know someone who might be able to make them. That's all I'm going to say.
Tell her to add that on. I
don't know if she's got that, if she's ramped up production yet, though.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, tell her to keep that in her, her back pocket. But I think it's just, really kind of just understanding that everybody's comfort level is different, and just respecting that. I mean, we've all been, in New York, kind of locked down. So I think most of us are just ready to, hey, BCW was awesome last night. It was so great to see everyone. And, but again, I think I ask, are you hugging? Are you, so I personally ask just to make people feel comfortable. But
well, I think that's interesting. I like that because, we're in the production world, we use colors for a lot of things so that we can see it quickly. Mm-hmm. And I like that idea actually, because that would, even when I saw one of our engineers, hadn't seen him in a while, and, he wasn't sure what to do. And there was a half arm, there was a hand, there was an elbow, mm-hmm. Nobody knew what to do there right for a minute. So yeah, I think that's an interesting idea though.
Yeah,
and one that would apply, certainly.
Would apply, and just I say don't take it personal. If they're not ready, just don't take it personal. Just know that everybody's journey is different. Some people have really gone through, so just be understanding and know that everybody's journey has been very different, and just meet them where they are. That's my recommendation.
Well, I think that's another professional planning tip for people, to be quite honest, because not everybody looks at it like that.
Yeah.
And that's part of I think the bigger picture that someone in your role and position would see is that you get to see how a lot of different crowds are handling it, whether it's a corporate group, it's an agency, maybe that's a public facing event, or it's a private event. Like most of the groups you work with only see one type of audience.
Yeah.
You see a lot of different audiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you bring that to the table as well for them right now. And that's an important criteria right this second.
Yeah. I think and that's something that I try to bring with everything that we do, even on, the PR side. I mean, it's been such a rough road that we try to incorporate that into just, even with press releases and things that we're doing, dealing with the media, just trying to have that understanding, it's, and even with social media, some of the comments, we handle social media accounts for some of our clients. And, it's sometimes you have that frustration where people will post something and it's really just try to come at it from a more of a understanding kind of spirit. It's helpful.
Right. No, I think that's great. That's really good. Well, look, I don't want to tie you up too much today. I know you have a lot of work going on. Do you have any final words for some of your peers and clients out in the industry?
My final words are...
This is a solo moment, so hold on. There you go.
Oh, I got a solo box.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. My final words are, this is our time. This is our time. Let's go out. Let's have a great time. Let's make some magic with these events and create some wonderful partnerships. It's all about the partnerships and the collaborations. And that's it, guys. Happy to be here with all of you today.
Wow. And see, it's that kind of insight that got you the chairman's recognition award. That's good. That's good.
Thank you.
I think these are all great points, Cherise. And that's this is the time. People have to plan these things right now, and they should be thinking about the different audience experiences and trying to balance it out. And certainly planning for the worst is a better path than we think it might do this.
Yeah.
I think if anything, the last year and a half has proven that we need to have a plan B.
Plan B, C, D. I tell you, we always go in with the A, B, C, D, and then it's, always.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Well, this has really been great. I appreciate your time. Please tell Arnold that I said hello. We have no lunch or food to offer, but
well, then he won't be here.
I know. But maybe the next time on part 2, when we find out the secret. Is that a good lead-in? I don't know. I'm working on this.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
Cherise.
And we'll talk soon.
I am sure we will.
All right. Take care.
Well, you just got some big tips right there. I think that's what a pro does, is offers you advice that you can utilize, not only now, but in the bigger picture. And thinking ahead and meeting the audience, where they're comfortable, is really that's pretty smart, and that's what having a planner helps with, because they just see a bigger picture than most of their clients. So let me just run down the line here. eventsremember.com, excuse me. So make sure you check that out. Talk to Cherise and Amanda and the team over there. They can help you with all of your different planning. And on my side, of course, we got to go back up to the top. You got to subscribe, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. I don't know what crazy comments are out there right now. Okay, Mike D is back again. He was giving us the weather out in Las Vegas before, but I do have him on the hook for a bracelet right now. And, cash is the only way. That's the only payment we're accepting. So I don't want to see any cards. Okay, Mike D. But either way, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, we're going to be back at it next Wednesday, 1 p.m. I fully expect that my co-host, Ryan Finch, will be back to join us. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day, and hopefully we get some sun outside. See you soon.